want to hear God? You want to distinctively know His voice? But hear me. The Bible in the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 14 verse 1 says that you pursue love and desire spiritual gifts, but especially that you may prophesy. But what I want to zero on is that word desire. Desire spiritual gifts. So for you to want to hear God, number one, you have to desire. You have to yearn. You have to thirst. You have to long for Him. You have to desire. Desire. You don't just talk about it, but you desire in your heart to have Him. And you know, whatever you desire to have, you go for it. Whatever you long for, you go for it. Whatever you yearn for, you go for it. Now you're asking me, how can you go for it? How can you hear God speak to you in a very special way, and you distinctively know His voice from yourself, from the voice of the enemy? Number one, you spend a lot of time with God. This is what I mean. You spend time in prayer. You spend time praying with God. You spend time communing with God. You spend time communicating with God. Anytime you communicate with your friend, your best friend, when they are on the phone with you, you don't ask who is that. You just go ahead with your discussion because you can distinctively know their voice. It's the same thing with God. Communicate consistently, constantly with God. And then while you communicate with Him, at the end of your prayer, at the end of your communication, you wait. You be still and hear Him speak to you. At this point, you've turned off whatever your own personal desire is. Then the second thing that you have to do to desire and to really yearn for the presence of God is to stay in His Word. A lot of times we don't really understand that staying in the Word of God is very important. Reading the Word of God. Each time you read a page, you read a chapter, you read a verse, you wait to hear what God is communicating to you through that verse. The more you speak to God, the more you communicate with God, the more you read the Word of God, the more He speaks to you. The more you speak to Him, the more He speaks to you, the more you can distinguish His voice from the voice of the enemy. When you read the Word of God, you'll be able to know when the enemy is trying to deceive you and is trying to tell you what God did not say about you. The Lord be with you, and the Lord bless you.